Hey, Nam.
What it do, Jay? What it do, Jay?
We are back with another one, part two of The Batman. The Batman. Because I am hyped because the new Batman is coming out this month. And for people that are watching this one, please check out our part one, the '89 Batman with the wonderful Jack Nicholson as the Joker, Michael Keaton as Batman, the Tim Burton effect. But now we are back with the sequel in the last one in the Tim Burton two-part series. Because
Are we back?
we're back.
Or is it that Jeremy Metnam returns?
I like that. Let's go with that. We have returned. Yes. With the 1992 Batman Returns. And it's for the holidays. That is Christmas for us. Now, it's interesting because in the first one, you know, Hollywood, Warner Brothers were kind of putting their hands on all over the place and everything. But after Tim Burton did so successful with the '89 Batman and Edward Scissorhands, that the only way he would come back to do another Batman movie if he got more range, more free range to do whatever he wants. And boy, he got his free range to do anything he wanted in this movie, even changing the writer to come in and redo the script, to his more imagination of how he wanted to do the villains and characters. But the one thing definitely Tim Burton put on here that he is known for is the darkness of this, because this movie is dark. It's way darker than the first one, and there's a lot of themes and a lot of symbolisms and certain things. You could say this movie is really the worst Christmas for most of these characters. Nam, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, this is very much a Tim Burton movie. It's his universe, and we're just living in it. We get to see this little glimpse of him. And I don't blame them for wanting to bring Tim Burton back to create his own universe. In fact, I'd love to see his universe. I want to see his universe way more than I want to see Zack Snyder's universe. Or the dude that made the Suicide Squad's universe.
Right.
Or what's his name? I can't think of his name. But It don't matter. That movie wouldn't... Not the Suicide Squad. Let me rephrase that guy's Suicide Squad.
Right. And so...
But they brought this... He did bring this gothic vision to this movie that... He brought a gothic vision to the actual universe that fit, to me, the comic book a lot more than what we would see in other later installments of the movies. And for us, like, rewatching it again, you know, it was dark. Like, it was like Tim Burton dark. Like, I have a new definition in life. It's Tim Burton dark.
Yes.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, what makes it also very interesting is we got a better visual look of Gotham City from the first one. So it was a huge upgrade. Like, we're seeing a lot of the buildings being changed. We're seeing a lot of just his touch of just the way he structures stuff. And seeing behind the scenes of some of it is where, like, they actually made like a little town, and then they kind of just used the camera work to work around that. And I thought that was pretty amazing how they pulled that off. And definitely the costume designs are definitely a big upgrade since the previous one. And I would argue that Batman got a little bit more shine on this one to me than the '89. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I don't know how I feel about that. That's an interesting thought. I would say probably because there's not much of him story-wise as far as what the origin's concerned, so they didn't have to worry about it, that he can just go in and just be who we expect he is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really did help the movie in that sense, where I see where you're saying about the shine thing is like, you can just be you. Like, you don't have to, there's no restraints. There's no, we have to fit in this whole entire story for you. Like, you can just do you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Jay, you do you. You be the in-game boss. I expect you to be.
Thank you. And the very last thing was very surprising. You can Wikipedia this and just look up of how many people have been considered the role of Catwoman Penguin before it came down to Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito. We're talking about like Dustin Hoffman was offered on that list, which it was kind of interesting. Like I could see that because I see like I looked at the old Adam West Penguin. I'm like, yeah, I can see a little Dustin Hoffman in there. To Madonna, which I was young, I thought that was Madonna. It fits Madonna.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Especially now, like music video Human Nature, where it's like, oh yeah, like I can full pie someone right now like that's Madonna. It's like, oh yeah, the way she's crawling around and acting kind of freaky. Yeah, I can see that. So
it's cool. You have every right to believe and think that because in the movie Weird Science, I thought that was Elizabeth Hurley the entire time.
Oh man,
we fell at something in life, guys.
But a lot, you could talk to many people and they have the debate of do they like the 89 or the Batman Returns, but I think they're both great in their own way. Especially like I said in the first episode, 89 is still my favorite one, but this one, even though it's a little bit slower than the first one, it definitely has more character development among the characters. But we will learn more about that as we go into our unanswered questions, the unsolved mysteries. So now, in the world Gotham City, as we watch this movie, we have a lot of questions to ask for certain characters. So, the first one we're going to talk about is the lovely Catwoman, Miss Selina Kyle. So, Nam, why don't you be so kindly to start off with the unanswered questions?
Sure. All right. So, when Catwoman gets created, when Selina Kyle actually gets created, it's her entire origin story, which is something that I think you and I didn't really know about. And we'll ask whether or not, towards the end of this conversation, we'll ask whether or not we truly are okay with it. Mm-hmm. But I do have a question because she finds out what Shrek's been doing with his power plant. And then she was very, I don't know, very just kind of like, oh, you could. I won't tell anyone. I swear.
It was almost like I know something you don't know, but I won't tell anybody. I promise I won't tell anybody.
Yeah. Like somehow in her mind, she thought this was a good idea to hack and read all that stuff, and then tell her boss that she knows.
Right.
And for a second there, we think Shrek wasn't going to kill her, so she felt pretty good. Then Shrek just straight boom. And she goes down.
It's going down.
And she hit a bunch of canopies on the way down, just like Jackie Chan's stunt movies that you see at the end of his credits. Just hit like 10 of them on the way down. In fact, I didn't know that you could have like 10 of them just on top of each other. That's a really tall fall, man. So she hits the ground, and then these cats come up, and they start nibbling at her. But everyone tends to believe that, hey, she died, and then the cats resurrected her. That's how they resurrect her. I, Jeremy, have a different theory.
Okay. What's your theory?
I feel that all those little cloth canopies or whatever they're called, whatever you want to call them, I don't care. They stopped the fall.
Yeah.
When she landed, she lost her breath. She got knocked out. I mean, if you fell from that far and you hit a bunch of canopies and you hit the ground, yeah, you would get knocked out. And just like any cat would do, they were like, yo, we hungry. And you know how when you wake up, the cat's in there on top of you and they're just like, hey, Jeremy, I'm hungry.
Believe me, that's a fact. Yes, truth.
And Jeremy's a cat guy. I'm more of a dog person, so I don't get the same reaction. But I know how cats are. And you might see Rascal in the background just jumping around.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I was saying.
It would have been hilarious if Rascal just showed up right there. Mm-hmm. And they just, maybe the cats were just like trying to like wake her up in order to, actually have them feed her, or feed the cats. I'm sorry. So, Jeremy, what do you think truly happened? Do you think she was dead when she hit the ground, or do you think the cats really woke her up from a deep sleep or from a knocked out state?
I think I'd go a little bit further. I think what happened was in the movie Cats, that when the Jellicle cats, once they're chosen, they're supposed to go to cat heaven. I think, if I'm correct, you're supposed to get reincarnated. I think one of those cats got reincarnated and went inside Selena Kyle's body, and now she's just dealing with this body for what it is, or it could be Selena Kyle just landed on a cat on her fall, and the soul of the cat had went inside her. That is Catwoman. So, that's my theory. I think that's what I want. And the other cats are like, damn, are you okay? Are you okay, Nibbles? Nibbles, wake up. Wake up, Nibbles. He's gone. So that's what I think. What do you have another theory other than mine?
No, I mean, I'm going to go with they were hungry because they know that once she got knocked out, they were like, so, man, we can't really open that fridge. We can't get into her apartment and open that fridge. So we need to wake her up, guys. And they were like, all right, let's go wake her up. And then all of them just started swarming her and then trying to wake her up. And they were just like, we can't wake her up. We're just meowing, licking her face, and she's not doing anything. It's like, bite her fingers. Bite her fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And they start nibbling on her fingers, and they were just, I think that's the way they woke her up.
Yeah. So even from there, you would think that she'd be like, I guess, part cat, part human inside this human body, because she still function okay. She's still English, all this stuff. And, she heads back to her apartment, and she's just really just kind of goes into a mental breakdown, so much of like just throwing stuff, spray painting stuff, throwing her dolls in a garbage disposal, I guess, weirdly enough. That was weird, wasn't it?
I mean, no, I mean, if you want to get rid of like your past, like if you don't want to be a kid again, that's the way to do it, guys. I just want y'all to know, if you got that girlfriend who's got like 10 stuffed animals on her bed and she don't want to be a kid again, she's gonna stuff it down your garbage disposal, like just completely like twirl it. Let me also say something here. I was so afraid of the garbage disposal because of this movie. Because I was thinking,
real talk.
Oh my god, like if I stick my hand in there and it turns on, like my hand's gonna be gone.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna like chop up it's gonna be like as if you stick your hand in some water and there's a bunch of piranhas there and it just like chews up your hand. Like that was a scary thought as a kid, man. I was like 8 or 9 years old when I watched this.
Dude,
10 years old when I watched this.
I realized watching this movie that just quick, I could not just down a carton of milk like that. I just couldn't. I would literally throw up probably. That's just
well.
But if you're a cat, that's invincible.
I mean, technically, did she really doubt it though? Or
No, she does not. Like, she tries her best.
A lot of us were just like, that milk be dripping down on her. She's sexy.
Milk makes a body good, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Milk. You got milk?
Right. What else you got?
All right, so she becomes Catwoman. She gets this jacket, and she's looking at this jacket, and she was just like, I can make a full-on costume with this thing.
How?
Exactly. Jeremy, tell me. How does she make a costume out of the jacket? Like, a full-on, with a mask and everything. She makes the entire thing. Do you think she has multiple jackets? Like, you tell me how she did it.
Look. This is not a jacket that's like the size, like if you've seen The Matrix, is Neo wearing. That is not, it's not that long. I would say it stops at the waist. This was a jacket from like this, the neck to the waist. That's it. And I don't know how, like I can let it slide that she got somehow the outfit all the way down, but to add the hat to it is a little crazy. Unless she just has extra pairs of leather jackets that we just don't know about. But when I saw her just going through her closet, just throwing stuff around, I swear I only saw one. So
I agree, but yeah, go ahead.
But I think one other question you asked on top of that is the fact that why leather? Right?
Or why latex?
Yeah, why latex for that? And my answer,
that's the truth though. Like that was the good question, right? Because like she had the one jacket, she made a full-on costume of latex, more or less. But when you think of cats, you don't think of like a naked cat or furless cat. In fact, you didn't really think of a furless cat until you started watching Austin Powers, which came out after this movie.
Uh-huh.
So when you think of the concept of Catwoman, take the whole fact that DC had this whole entire comic book series. This is Tim Burton's world. Tim Burton's world. When you think of Catwoman, when you think of a cat, you think of cats. So, as morbid as I say, why didn't she skin a bunch of cats and make a cat suit out of them? Or why didn't she, make a cat suit out of fur coat? Like, I'm not exactly sure what was she thinking there.
Yeah, because I was saying that, like, I didn't see any fur coats for one there. So, but it still makes sense what you said. I said the reason why I said that she picked leather is because I think cats in general like scratching on leather. I mean, latex. Sorry, not leather. Latex. They like messing with latex. Like, my cat just likes scratching on random things. Like, if I put latex down somewhere, he would tear it up with his nails. He would. So I think Selena was attracted to latex like a cat would be. And, you saw her playing with it for a little bit. And then she started getting that sewing machine. So that's what I think, honestly. I think because, she's part cat in her own way, that she's like, ooh, this feels good. Because, cats like to knee a lot of things. They like to just knee it on everything. And so she felt that latex. She was going for that. She went for it. That, or she saw the Madonna video, Human Nature. She's like, I want to be that.
What we didn't realize is in the background, Human Nature was playing, and then she was just like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's very cat-like.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
In reality, though, I think what it is that there was something about Selena Kyle that we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she had another room.
Right.
And maybe Jeremy didn't get this reference, but she's got a red room, which for all of you guys out there, you might know from 50 Shades of Grey.
Leave a comment down below.
Very freaky. She's a very freaky. It's the people that you look at and you're just like, she seems really nice and innocent, but there's a saying, they say, nice in the streets, but a freak between the sheets. And that's Selena Kyle for you. That's the reason why Bruce Wayne likes her.
Mm-hmm.
She had a whole room full of just latex leather and just whips and stuff. How does she have a whip? I mean, like, for real. That's how she had it. She had a whole room full of just latex whips. She was into S&M, man.
Why not? Why not? I mean, like you said, we don't really know the real Selena Kyle. We only know as Catwoman Selena Kyle. So we don't know what she does on a normal day. Like, that's why she said she had a hard time keeping a man. Because when they found that out, they're like, nope, I'm out. That's why that guy on the phone was like, hey, I'm going to go on this vacation by myself because my therapist told me it was a better idea than being with you. I was like, that's so mean.
Right.
He's on the red room. Oh, man. All right. What else you got over there about Miss Selena Kyle?
Man, that's pretty much everything I got, but
okay.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, so as her becoming this Catwoman, I was thinking about like, how did she just learn how to fight? Is that part of the cat reflex? That she knows how to do all those backflips all of a sudden and just start like just knowing how to fight? Like, is that just the cat instincts of her adapting? What do you think? Is that the cat instincts just coming in where she just does? It's just natural now? Because she climbs up walls. We saw her climb up walls.
Yeah.
I don't know how she did it.
I know with the thimble with the sharp nails, like like somehow like I can do that and actually climb a wall. Cool. Yeah. I got a reason why, Jeremy.
Okay.
She learned how to fight because.
Okay.
I mean,
right.
I think that is the part of the suspension of disbelief that we have to always let in front of these superhero movies, right? Because I asked that same question about Superman. I asked that same question about Spider-Man. I asked the same question about every superhero that becomes a superhero that just didn't know how to fight. Like, how are you going to tell me a photographer from like the Daily Bugle knows how to do all this fighting stuff all of a sudden?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to tell me Superman, who grew up being just Superman as a kid, knew how to fight? Because anything he tried to hit would just go through like 10 walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Jeremy, the answer is because.
Okay.
And I need you to get way off my back from that. All right, so the real question is that this is one of the few times that we get to see an origin story for a villain that really never had an origin story as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Catwoman's origin story in Tim Burton's world?
Yeah, so off air we talked about this a little bit, and I think I'm of two minds, and I think a lot of people are in two minds. If you are a hardcore comic book fan, I can understand why you would not accept this. But like you said, this is a Tim Burton world, so it makes sense for Tim Burton because Tim Burton is one of those people like when he makes a character, he literally has that character doing literally for what that character does. You know what I mean? Like if he decided to make a character that's a frog guy, he would literally probably eat flies and hop around like a frog. You know what I mean? Like he would literally sell that role of being that freaky. And I said that maybe because she did such a good job of playing that role so well that it just worked for that she did a good job playing that split personality of, you know, I'm half crazy, I had a concussion, I'm a cat, you know. And I like the fact that Tim Burton just kind of made it really freaky in that way. So I actually accept it. I thought it was pretty unique for what Tim Burton was trying to do. If you're a fan of Tim Burton, then this is an easy, like, yeah, sure, why not?
All right, you know, so I do actually am okay with the origin story with the Catwoman here. I didn't find it unnerving. Obviously, as a kid, I just kind of accepted it as like that was her origin story, and I didn't think about it more until I actually watched the movie again. And then seeing it and then thinking to myself, how did Catwoman actually get created? Because she was just a kleptomatic, a thief who had a fetish for cats. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I wondered if there really needed to be an origin story for her in this movie, but I think it was okay. I enjoyed it. I see where they came from, and I can see why they did that. The question I think I have is really to the two villains, was there really a need for both people to have origin stories, or if one should be mysterious and the other one should have an origin story? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like Catwoman having an origin story, and then we don't have an origin story with Penguin. We just have Penguin just show up. I think it would have been better vice versa, where we have Penguin's story, and we just found out Catwoman was Catwoman, like she just was just who she is. But I think there was a sympathetic. They wanted to create some more sympathy for Catwoman, at least in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But that begs the question. I'm pretty sure you have a question about Penguin's origin story.
Yeah, so at the very beginning of the movie, it's actually one of the first scenes in the movie of we see the parents of Oswald Cobblepot, and after they were disgusted by the way the child looked, they just threw it away, just threw it in the sewer. But it doesn't really answer the question of like, how was the penguin that is Oswald Cobblepot created, right? Like, we don't know what the family did to get this child, let alone we never got to see what the child actually looked like, technically, you know.
I think there's a lot of questions in this world that we have to ask, and we beg the question of asking, right? It's like, you know, mermaids are hot, but what part of the mermaid would you really want? Like the top half to be the fish or the bottom half to be? How would that even work?
Yeah, right.
Or, you know, something as stupid as like, not really stupid, but in instances, there's always jokes where like the wife and the wife is pregnant, has a kid, and the kid comes out a lot darker than what you are, and you're just like, yo.
Right?
That ain't my kid. Or somebody's just like, that's a cute kid, but I don't think that's his.
He has your eyes.
So the real question is like, do we really want to think that she fucked a penguin?
It's so interesting, right? It's like, it's either that or the family before them, and it is heritage all the way down.
Yeah.
But part of me wants to think that she got curious with a penguin.
Yeah. She looked at the penguin. She was like, "Oh, they're furry, but man, God bless, they're so sexy. Just their little beaks and their little flappers."
Mm-hmm.
And somehow science works, and then they just become a penguin. But I think the real fun question is that once they had the kid, did they argue about it?
That's a good question.
Did the husband was just like, "Yo, I'm leaving you."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, because I don't have mutated penguin DNA in my life.
Yeah. Maybe just out of curiosity, maybe she cheated on him with Mr. Popper.
Mr. Popper's penguins.
It's not ruling it out.
She slept with the Monopoly guy, but the Monopoly guy, kind of looks like a penguin.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But here's the funny thing about it is, could that be the fact that could be the answer, or the fact that the baby was just so ugly just in general, and while in the sewer it mutated and maybe merge in what we see today, because the fact that this story took back 33 years before, basically took 30, sorry, it is weird to how to say this. I don't know where it's stat, but where this story was, it was 33 years later.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of questions to come into that, because we're at the present Gotham, and it has to be before the Joker came up, right? It has to be before Joker and all that. So could the chemical plant be involved of the baby becoming a penguin too?
Yeah.
So,
I agree with you. I think the entire time Tim Burton was just like, we're going to tie this all up. We're going to make a universe. Mm-hmm. So he created a plant that created the Joker, but the plant was actually a power plant and not what we thought was a chemical plant. Maybe it was initially Shrek's idea.
Mm-hmm.
And Shrek created a plant that produced all these toxic chemicals that created the Joker, which we knew went into the river,
Mm-hmm.
because the Joker floated out into the river, into the waters. So it helped create this underground chemical mess that helped mutate. I wouldn't say mutate the kid, because they threw away the Joker, or not the Joker, I'm sorry. They threw away Penguin because he had little flappers. I don't really know how he looked here.
Okay.
But from the movie, he would have just had a pointed nose. So I'm just going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a pointed nose and some flappers. And they were like, we're going to throw this kid away. Like, yo, we don't know if he's any evil, but maybe he was kind of obese and they were just like, we're going to throw him away.
You could be right, because the fact that based on what we see in the movie, he was in a little carriage the whole time. It's not like he was in the water floating down there. But he did look pale in the face like Jack. So.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But let's get to the meat of this question. The meat of this question is 33 years. 33 years. Oswald has been in the sewer that became the penguin. But why were there penguins in the sewer in the first place? How long were they? They were there since he was little. So they've been there for 33 years. You're telling me nobody at the zoo just thought like, now where'd all those penguins go? Like, no? Nobody questioned that? Nothing? You know what I mean? Like,
so what happened was they had a handful of penguins at the zoo, and they were like, the zoo is going bankrupt, and we don't know what to do with all these animals. We should ship these animals. And what happened was that like 3 or 4 of the penguins were like, nah, we too good for this. So they escaped somehow.
Mm-hmm.
with the help of the Red Triangle Gang that existed 33 years ago and didn't age a bit. And you know what they did, Jeremy? They got freaky.
They do multiply very quickly. They do. Mm-hmm.
And if you guys have seen like Rick and Morty, like that world, that's what happened. They just reproduced with each other, and then they ate their kids, and they just reproduced, and they kept doing it. And then they just built a whole gang of penguins underneath the sewer. And you know what? People who monitor the sewers, they're really bad at their job, Jeremy.
Like, sewer is like the Gotham City's least problems, apparently, right? Because it just, if all fails, flush it.
Well, that's why there's always smoke flying out of the sewer. Steam coming out of the sewer, and no one says anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not because it's just really hot down there, guys. It's because there's just a bunch of crap down there. Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm. Because you know what Penguin said to Max when he kidnapped him in the cage? He's like, when he was using the blackmail, he's like, anything you flush, I put on my mantle. And I'm like, so what? You put all his shit on your mantle?
You know. So this should have been like I agree with you. You know what it really should have been, though? It should have been like that music video. Hello. Lionel Richie.
Oh, Richie.
You know, at the very end where he follows the blind girl and like she's like, I made this sculpture out of you.
Is that made out of shit?
Like in reality, like Penguin pulls this blanket off and there's just a shit sculpture of Shrek.
That's so gross. But it makes but it would work. But it would work, right? In a weird, grotesque way. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's disgusting. So yeah. The moment that he was really trying to reach his goal of just trying to figure out who his parents are and all this stuff, it ended up not being it kind of been a charade. And Max was helping him become mayor for his own gain, you know, with the power plant and whatnot. And the Penguin's going to use it for his own gain to take over. You asked a very interesting question of if Bruce Wayne and Batman were not involved, you know, if it was just them just going for it to try to be a mayor, would they get elected? To answer your question, it would be no.
Okay.
It would be no, because the fact that people look at image more than anything else. People can do some bad things, but if you have a good image, people can let it slide. Oswald did not have a good image, let alone the looks, the way that he bit that guy's nose off, one of his campaign people, and all that stuff, the way he talked. If Max wasn't even there, he wouldn't. They would probably arrest him because he just looks so freaky. And the fact that a lot of people try to accept him after one of his goons kidnapped the baby and then he rescues it. You know, people more be freaky of, give me my baby back before you eat it. You know, I'm a no that there is no way Penguin would ever be elected mayor, because I just think just by looks, they wouldn't care what he said. He could have the best ideas. Even say, clean up the sewers, which is like, got it. He wins, but not in this Gotham City. Not in this dark city where it's all dark and icky, that they're not going to accept a dark and icky person. So,
you know, being that on March 22nd, barring any other delays or possible like hold-offs here, it'll be interesting to see how the Penguin's portrayed in this new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves' Batman. I agree with you to a point.
Okay.
And I will say that in a sense that back in the 90s, I do agree. I don't think he would have been elected. But present day 2021, we may or may not have had a president in the last election, or our previous president, who was about as brash and as about as honest and ruthless, quote unquote, ruthless a businessman, that did get elected by saying what they wanted to hear. Now, as far as looks is concerned, I do agree with you, though. I don't know if someone who looked like that, like the Penguin, could actually get elected. I don't think the world was ready for that. Let alone be just the mayor of like Gotham City.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if Gotham City was in such peril, like they could possibly hire somebody that they got into. There's a chance for it to happen nowadays, but in this movie, how they portrayed him and how he was portrayed into the public, I just didn't see why that was the case. Like I felt that Michael Keaton had a better chance of being the mayor, or Shrek. I think Shrek would have been an interesting character to have went for the mayorship and then wanted to create a power plant with the mayorship and say that he wants to bring energy to Gotham, more energy to Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
That he can surplus and sell it to different cities around him to earn more money for Gotham. Like, I think that would have been an interesting thing, but I don't think the Penguin would have been the right character to actually become the mayor in this movie.
Yeah, even Jack was a better pick for that. All he had was a pale face. So, yeah. But he still dressed very well for himself, if you know what I mean. So,
yeah.
Go ahead. Okay.
I was gonna say, and you know what's interesting is because you were sitting there talking about the 33 years and how Penguin existed in the first Batman movie with the Joker, and it's very plausible. In fact, I think it's very true. The truth of the matter, his actual origin story, we see this rich family give birth to a freak and then send it off. But I think that's an unreliable narrator, because we can't really trust the Penguin's whole thought process in the origin story. I think, and I know this might be a stretch to you because we talk about cinematic universe.
Uh-huh.
I think that the Penguin is actually Uncle Fester in the Addams Family. I mean, he disappears at a young age.
Okay.
We don't know exactly what happens.
Okay.
He goes on to this thing. He does dark stuff. I mean, Uncle Fester does dark stuff that he thinks is absolutely funny, and that's what the Penguin did. He did dark stuff that he thought was hilarious, but he meant no harm in that. He doesn't look right. He looks like a freak. He's kind of half balding. This is Uncle Fester with hair. He somehow gets killed. Like, the question about how he gets killed, how he was killed or not, it can be up for debate, however you guys want to think. Because he hits the water, a bomb hits the water. He may have drowned, but he did drown. He comes up, he falls down, he dies, and then the Penguins push him back into the water. And he could have just floated to the Bermuda Triangle. Then came out to the Bermuda Triangle, got picked up by the lady that was trying to act like his mom. And there was the whole start of the Addams Family movie. So, Jeremy, do you think he is Uncle Fester?
Only if you answer one other question.
Okay.
How do you lose the nose?
How did he lose the nose?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he face planted on the ground when he died.
You think it just went inside his face?
I think it broke. Like.
No, I do not accept that, because you didn't give me the nose.
Hey, no,
you got it to give me the reason for the nose.
No. You accept that little Michael is now present day Peter Pan Michael. How can you not accept that he lost his nose?
Because the nose, he got to have some marking on his nose. Uncle Fester had to lose something. He didn't lose it. Because look, I am down for him floating down the river, being it's Gotham. I get it. The Bermuda Triangle, all that crap. I get that. I'll let that slide. But the thing that sold it was the nose, right? The nose has to make sense of why he lost it for me to let it go.
Uncle Fester's nose is kind of wide and big. So instead of like sticking out and being long and narrow, now it's just like flat and wide.
No, I'm not excited. By the way, you wish Tim Burton did an Addams Family movie too.
You know what? Truly speaking, I do. I wouldn't mind him doing this.
That felt like an easy win, right? But just never happened. So,
It never happened, guys. This is the only kind of news that you will ever get in any other website. If we didn't give you anything else, it is our conspiracy theories.
Yeah, so with all that, we can't thank the Penguin without thanking Max Schreck, the man that basically screwed over Catwoman and the Penguin in his own way. So Nam, I ask you, what questions do you have about Max that's so mysterious to you?
It's interesting. So Shrek, Maximilian, he kills his secretary or executive assistant. I'm sorry. Which, surprisingly enough, back in like in the 90s, for them to say executive assistant, that's pretty impressive because I always thought that was more of a 2000s thing. He kills her, or in my theory, he pushes her out the window and knocks her out like cold. Bruce comes and confronts him, and they're just having a back and forth. She walks in to the building, into the room. She looks like a beat up crack whore. Sorry, Michelle Pfeiffer, I love you. I do, I really do. But you look kind of rough in that one. And Max is unfazed by this. Absolutely unfazed by this. He eventually asks Selena to take Bruce out, and as they leave, his son Chip, who, Jeremy, if you do not know, Zangief.
Oh, real talk?
Yeah.
Real talk?
Yeah,
good
real
for
talk.
him.
He is Zangief.
Oh.
Change the channel.
That's awesome. Good for him. Yeah.
He's Zangief from Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Says something to his dad, and he's just like, I got bigger fish to fry. Jeremy, yo, you just killed your executive assistant. You pushed her out of a building. She came back somehow. She walked in and she was like, I know everything. And you tried to kill me. I'm here. I'm still here. What's up now? What kind of fish do you have to fry? What other fish is important for you? If she knows your secrets, you tried to kill her and she came back? And now she walking. You let her walk out with Bruce, where she can just be like, "Yo, Bruce, let me tell you about this guy." Like, how?
I know who the big fish he's trying to fry is Bruce.
Okay.
Yeah, Bruce was next because if Bruce started getting too deep in there, he was going to kill him. And if Selena stepped in again, he was going to throw her off a goddamn window and give her a higher top. That's what it was. That's all it was. Because Bruce is easily the bigger fish to fry because he's the one that's trying to tell him you cannot do this power plant. You're not going to get Penguin to be the mayor. You're not doing it. He's like, so I'm going to have to throw you off a window too. Okay. All right. I got you. So, yeah. And then when everybody says anything, he's just going to look at him and say, yawn. So.
Greatest line, by the way, just the yawn thing. So Christopher Walken.
Yeah. All right. So going into some random questions about Bruce Wayne, because, Bruce Wayne definitely took the back seat of this movie out of everybody because, we talked about before that he doesn't really need he doesn't need that much information. Now he can just go guns blazing in through this per se with his bat wings. Now, the signal. The signal was something that you were kind of interested in knowing how it works. As I was asking, what was Batman thinking before the signal? So what's your concern about the signal that concerned you?
So the signal gets shined into the air, which we talked about in the last episode. Because if there's no clouds, then you don't see the signal. But the signal gets shined into the air, and there's a bunch of clouds, and then somehow Bruce Wayne's mansion sees the signal, and they either, in theory, reflect the signal into the room where Michael Keaton was sitting at, contemplating, or it turns on a light and then it shines in. The question is like, does it reflect it or does it shine it? How does it work?
I honestly think that he was sitting there thinking about if Joker was coming back.
If Joker was what?
Coming back.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he was just... People think like it's Christmas, he's thinking about his parents and all that. I was like, nah, I don't think he's sitting there thinking about his parents. No. That's more of like, I'm going to take a walk kind of talk. I really maybe thinking, I think he's thinking about, from the first movie, what are things that he could have done better? Should I, maybe could have saved Joker? Maybe I could have stayed with Vicky Vale, or
that's a. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that, or maybe like, did I really kill those people from the first movie?
Well, and I was going to sit there and say that too. It's like, I wonder if he grew a conscience and was thinking to himself, I feel bad for killing everybody in the past. But then he's like, nah, let me think of creative ways to kill people. Because here's the thing, Jeremy.
What's that now?
We mad about Zack Snyder's Batman killing people. Mm-hmm. We mad. Like, we like, Zack Snyder, you ruined Batman. He doesn't kill people. Mm-hmm. Even though he killed people in Christopher Nolan's Batman. But because it was Zack Snyder, which I agree, he deserves all the hate. Hate. Mm-hmm. Just don't cancel us because we hate him. I'm kidding, guys. We don't really hate him, but I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. Jeremy, I don't know what his body count was in this movie, but guaranteed he killed a handful of people in this movie. Why do you think that he didn't get any more backlash? This movie didn't get the backlash it deserved for the deaths of all the people.
A couple of things. One, It was before the internet, because of, Al Gore's thing, like you were mentioning off air.
He created the internet.
Yes. So people couldn't just, say what they want to say, because maybe that could have changed the game. Two, Batman's kills felt more of accidental's too strong. It's more of like, it's almost like it's like deserving, like you deserve to die, but not.
Okay, that's fair.
But not in the worst way, right? Like, I mean, they died in a pretty shitty way. I mean, but it's kind of, you kind of deserved it, because like the guy shooting fire, like, come on, man, really? And then he turns the car and he blows off. Like, you are in the way. I was gonna go this way. You literally saw me turn my car around, and you still sat there and got burned. You kind of deserve that, You kind of deserve that. Compared to, in the first movie where the guy jumps off the stairs and crashes right through the floor in the bell tower. Like, you kind of deserve that.
Okay.
So, and then the last thing is, they were funny. It's not like he was like straight. It was not hardcore. It was a funny kill enough where it's like kind of like, okay, yeah, those are my reasons.
No, that's fair. No, I completely agree with you. I do get what you're saying. I do agree. Just a secret for charisma people, for people who are out there who are wanting to be more charismatic and who are also wanting to be more quick and also funny. If you guys don't know this trick, it's things that you practice saying or you think about that you save for later in a situation that comes up and you just do it. So really what happened is that Bruce was sitting in that bell tower and he was thinking about all the ways that he can kill people but make it funny and make it enjoyable. Because if you make it funny, then it's not really killing someone. So he made it funny. So he was thinking about the ways to do it. And I do agree with Jeremy. Like, the more you say it, I see it now. It's like, if you do something stupid, you deserve something stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, truly speaking, if you're standing there with the torch and you're blowing a fireball at a bullet-protected Batmobile that can run you over, thinking that you were going to do something, you deserve to be put in the flames. Mm-hmm. Just saying. If you were a suicide bomber and you were going to kill yourself anyways, he was just helping you. He just wanted you to have a better view
Yeah.
down the sewer. But I want to know, how did Batman, saving Selena Kyle, shoot the little bat, I don't know what you want to call it, the bat gun thing,
Okay.
the bat repellent, into the wall? He misses the guy. He shoots into the wall to give him a false sense of security. And the guy's like, you miss. And from this fully solid concrete wall, Jeremy, he pulls a chunk out of this wall, solid concrete.
Uh-huh.
He pulls a chunk out of this wall, and it knocks out the clown, and then he saves the girl.
Mm-hmm.
What type of Superman shit is this?
Actually, that wall looked like it was through reconstruction, and the person that had it before, it's not actually concrete. It's one of those kind of like, paste that they put over it. And Batman just got lucky to pick that wall, and just pull it and did it. That's what I think,
Okay.
That makes sense to me.
Okay.
I mean, people say Batman's not a superhero in arguments, but after that stunt, well, if you want to say he's strong, well, he got a superpower. He can make the impossible possible. Somehow he pulled it off.
There you go. No. I think what happened is that wall was made out of like styrofoam.
Oh. Okay.
And that he pulled the chunk out and it hit the villain, the clown. But he was so embarrassed that he was outsmarted. He was just like, I got to go down.
Yeah.
And he just went down. In reality, guys, Batman didn't kill any of those guys. After they fought him, they got really sleepy. And they just went to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all that happened. Let's go into our Rotten Tomatoes. I'll take Rotten Tomatoes. All right, so let's go into our Rotten Tomatoes. It's 2 scores, the critics and the audience, and we decide whether we fall in the critics or we fall into the audience, just like you guys. So our critics score gave it an 80% out of 85 reviews. Interesting. 80% out of 85 reviews. And the audience, yeah. You know what we got, Jeremy?
How many?
We got a couple haters.
Haters? Okay.
A couple haters.
Yeah, okay.
Audience, you guys gave it a 73 out of 250,000 reviews. Let me say something. I am thoroughly disappointed in you. Haters. You guys are SAWFT. Soft. Jay, which one do you go with and why?
I'm with the critics. I'm at 80%. I'm not gonna lie. This movie is slow. Okay, it has some slow parts. Not even gonna front. All right, but it's a good slow burn. All the characters really have interesting stories that you want to follow. All the stories, the story comes together very well with Max being the trigger of it all. He was the glue that stuck everything together, right? So he did a great job for that. But compared to the first one, even though I still love that one more than this one, it still did a good job of bringing us back into this world and really trying to see what Tim Burton's real vision was, what he wanted to do. It almost makes you want to think, like, what if he had full creative of the first one? Where would that would have gone, right? But just the fact that still today, out of all the Batman movies, this is the one where it feels like a Gotham of his own and not feeling like any other city or town like The Dark Knight and Matt Reeves' new one. Yet that is to be argued about after seeing it. Maybe Matt Reeves does something different. But so far, Tim Burton does a good job just capturing that world and bringing you in a little bit more. I'm 80% because he pulled off a big risk to me.
Okay. I think this movie was not actually that slow to me.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't feel like it was very slow because it happened really quickly. As far as like the turns happened really quickly.
Okay.
Like there was really no in between. It went from like one thing to the other to the other to the other. So Penguin did this. He was in a gala. He was the mayor. He was causing havoc, and he was this. Catwoman became Catwoman. Then she started killing people or rescuing people.
Okay.
Batman showed up. I think it went really quick, in my opinion.
Maybe I had a long day.
yeah, it was like multiple days to me, crushed into like one, like 2-hour movie. So I thought it went. I really enjoyed the dialogue in this movie. I was really surprised. I thought the dialogue in this movie was wonderful. I think it was very slick. I felt every bit of it, every bit of the Tim Burton like vision when it came to that. I will say I didn't like how the Penguin was just so perverted.
Okay.
And his sexual innuendos just like constant. He was just this huge horn dog. And I understand, I understand how if a guy doesn't, do things for like years, how you would feel. And I get that the Penguin had 33 years in the sewers not doing anything, except for other penguins. Mm-hmm. I just don't see why they needed to do the whole horn dog thing so big. So
let me hang on. Do you think it's more of a horn dog, or he's just playing as this creep because he just looks like a creep?
I think it could have been both. I think it's both.
Okay. All right, go on.
Without that, I enjoyed Christopher Walken. I thought Christopher Walken did a wonderful job as playing Christopher Walken in this movie. I will stick with what I said. You guys, the audience, you guys are haters. This movie's an 80 easy with critics.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Jeremy, you got the next thing for us. What is it?
Yes, it is time to roll back the villain gallery, the rogue gallery of our villains. And as we saw in the first one, we both agreed that Joker was number 1, followed by Bob. But now we have 3 more contenders to add to this. That is Selena Kyle's Catwoman, Oswald Cobblepot's Penguin, and Max Shrek.
Yeah.
Those 3 contenders are now in this. So on our personal lists, and this is not a joint list. This is just his list and my list. We just happen to agree on the first 2. Where do we put these 3 at? So I will go first.
Okay.
All right. I would still have Joker up top.
Interesting.
But I would have actually Catwoman number 2 now.
Okay.
Followed by the Penguin, Max, then Bob. I think the reason I put Catwoman up there is because Catwoman went so crazy in this movie that I feel like that they had to limit her. The fact that I don't know how far she would have gone. And I think she almost stole every scene she was in. So, and the fact that just her ending part where she just took out Max was just pure nuts. Not even the Penguin went that far per se. I mean, he bite a nose off, but even his plans didn't work out to me. But I think she just had a more villainous drive, I guess, in my opinion, in this movie than anybody else. She felt betrayed. She wanted to get Max. That was her sole goal, and she didn't care how she did it. I mean, she was at the ball, and she brought a gun, and she was going to kill him. She was already lost it. Like, that is true motive. Like, I am going after this guy, and I'm going to kill him. Penguin, you almost didn't know what Penguin's real goal was in this whole movie. He was just, it almost like he just liked the attention. And then Max just wanted to really just screw everybody for himself. And I feel like that's why he's the second runner-up. Now, the reason why I didn't put, even though Max could have been an easy one because he's the one that really screwed him over. But I think out of just someone that was just really pushing the envelope in this movie, I think it's Catwoman. So I'm Joker, Catwoman, Max, Penguin, and Bob on this one. And if I said Max the other one, this is the real list. Sorry, I switched them around. So that's my list. Sorry.
You're fine. You can tell that we're unscripted on this one.
Yes.
I respect your opinion. I do disagree, but I mean, this is the reason why we have our own list. Right?
Yes.
I will actually put the Penguin at number 1. Like, I've internally debated this one. Okay. And I think the reasoning behind it is not only the Penguin killed, but he did more than just kill some people. Like he, in reference, killed a bunch of kids that you didn't know about because he was exploring the idea of the firstborn child, and he had been doing this for a long period of time. This wasn't just something brand new.
Mm-hmm.
He also controlled a gang that literally probably killed more people than you would think. But I think his intentions, his darkness, I think overall he's the one that was more villainous to me.
Okay.
Now, he made some stupid mistakes, more stupid mistakes than the Joker, but I think the argument between the two is fair. If there was a 1A and a 1B Joker, and the Penguin probably tops it. Number 2, I think the Joker, easy. That one's pretty much easy. Like, he killed a sideman, like, for real.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is we don't know if the Joker killed Vicky Vale. Oh, not Vicky Vale, I'm sorry. Killed Clarissa? I can't remember.
We know who you're talking about. Yeah, we know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, Penguin killed the princess, which we didn't talk about because no one cared about the princess, so we didn't care either.
Yeah.
But I think on a scale that everyone could see, I think he did more. Joker took out a handful of people. Third, Max.
Okay.
I think Max was kind of that political background and did more things. He did show that he would kill some people that he dumped into, the sewers, as well as push his own assistant out the window. So he didn't care, and he was more ruthless than what we think. And he also created the Ninja Turtle Splinter and the Joker. And I guess I should have put him as number 1. But
almost, yeah.
Everything else was speculation. He even created Uncle Fester. You can't hate Uncle Fester, but whatever. I put Bob as number 2 or Bob underneath that.
So he's number 4.
4.
Okay.
I put Bob 4 because I think he did a lot of the dirty work for Joker, and he was a hardcore protector of our Joker and stayed all the way through the end. And I put Catwoman at the bottom. The reason why is that she was really... I know we talked about... I'm sorry. I know I switched there. I know we talked about before how Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 was a very villainous person with a backstory that we felt sympathetic to. Mm-hmm. And I think Catwoman was the same way. I don't necessarily think she was a villain. She saved a woman. Even though she was like, well, you just make yourself the victim. She did save the woman from getting raped.
Mm-hmm.
She killed Shrek, but Shrek deserved to die.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I've seen anything more to Catwoman other than just being a villain in name who wanted to get back at Shrek, but because Batman was in the way, she had to incidentally go after Batman too.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that the place that she blew up, you don't think anybody died in there, in your opinion? I don't know. I'm just asking, if you have the thought of that, other than like those cops or something?
Oh, no one died in that. You talking about that pawn shop that she blew up?
Yeah, when she got the whip, that's where she got the whip, and like with the cops and everything, she walks out and she says meow, and that's what the first time all 3 of them were together.
Yeah, so she might have killed that security guy if she left him in there.
I'm just throwing a theory. He might not have died. I was just kind of curious.
No, I mean that's a fair assessment. That's the reason I didn't think about that one. So
okay.
She might have killed the one dude, but incidentally, compared to the body counts that you would think of Bob, Shrek, and also Penguin, I think her body count was a lot lower. Now, if we're talking about body count by sexual activities, probably still low. But then again, we said she was a freak.
She was a freak.
She's a super freak. Super freak. She's super freaky. All right.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I think just Joker just had a better showmanship to me compared to the Penguin,
you're right.
And that's why I would think I definitely put Joker up above the Penguin. And I think that honestly, after I talk about how far Penguin actually gone, it's interesting because I would think that Max was the one pushing that, and that's why I would put Max above it, because I think Max is the one that kind of pushed him a little bit further to the edge of that, in my opinion, for that. But I
agree with you. I think if we and however we want to put the list together, however we want to put the list together.
Yeah.
if we were talking about villainous things, I feel my list is where I want it to be. If
Okay.
we were talking about people that was kind of charismatic and really just enjoyable to watch as a villain, I would probably put Joker, Max,
Okay.
uh, Joker, Max, Penguin, Catwoman, then
Okay.
Bob.
Well, we'll definitely be doing a special episode if we have time to just talk about our ranks overall, because that can be a long conversation. Because my list can change, your list can change, because it's not over yet. We have 2 more to go. All right, with the next one that hopefully won't last forever. But as you know, this is part of the In-Game Boss program that we're gaming other variety shows. So please check out all our great content. Please check out our last episode and leave a comment down below. Who do you think stole the movie? Who do you think was the big villain? Do you agree with Nom's list? Do you agree with my list? We love to hear your thoughts down below. And with that, thank you so much, and we'll be back in Gotham City soon.